This is every bottle of whiskey I got in the month of May. And this is actually the lightest month I can remember in a long time. I mean, 15 bottles seems like a lot, but realistically for us, very, very light month for a variety of reasons. It's that time of year, not a lot of new things coming out. We went bourbon hunting, but we had to fly, and those videos may be out a little bit after this one, but when we're flying, we're limiting how many bottles we're buying and bringing back, and we had no barrel pick samples for any of our whiskey drops in this month's mail. So we're gonna go through each and every one of these, talk about every one of them, see which ones we like and which ones we don't. And we're gonna jump right into it with a couple that I have been excited about trying, haven't quite found yet. I think I walked right by them on a bourbon hunt and didn't even notice, but that are these Penelope Estate collections. And one thing I didn't realize here is that these things are single barrels. I really thought these were gonna be more like the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, older releases, small batch whiskey, but these are both 10-year single barrels. One is the high rye and one is the low rye. This one we're gonna try first is the 36% rye, 60% corn, 4% malted barley mash bill. Now, I've been really getting into high rye bourbons. I just like the extra flavor, the extra spice that comes along with it. And that smells fantastic. Yeah, that rye comes through. Man, I have tried this one the day I got it. I popped this sucker open and gave it a try. Since it's opened up, it's been sitting around for a week or two. It's actually gotten really nice. The oak is kind of softened on it a little bit, and it's just caramel undertones, a little cola note in there, and then just a soft, dry, dusty, oaky rye spice on the finish. Overall, really nice single barrel. Although, like I said, every barrel's probably gonna be a little bit different. And this one is the 75% corn, 21% rye, 4% malted barley. So they jack that corn up, put less rye in it, and you'll see that 21% rye, fairly common mash bill. Oh man, that smells nice. A little more fruit forward on that one. A little sweeter. Man, that corn's coming through strong on it. Brighter, sweeter, more fruit, a little bit of rye spice on the finish. As much as I like that, and I typically like the high rye better these days, I'm gonna have to go with that higher corn. Man, that red fruit's really nice. That's everything I wanted it to be. I may go back and forth. There may be days where I prefer that little more dusty oak. This one's got a little softer, drier oak on it. But most of the time, I'm gonna go with that more red fruit forward there with the high corn, low rye. Either way, really happy with both of those bottles. I think these were $80-ish. I don't remember the exact price on them, but for $80-ish for a 10-year-old, even if they were $90, $100, which I don't think they were, really, really happy with that buy. And the next is a rum that came in the mail here. This is Vida Caña, I believe is how you pronounce that. This is an 18-year-old Panama rum that has spent 16 months, I believe it is. Yep, 16 months in a Buffalo Trace barrel. Now we're getting into rum. I like a light rum, especially a light rum finished in something like a bourbon cask, a rye cask. This one being from Panama, I haven't gotten into rums enough to know, oh, that's Panama rum, it's gonna taste like this, or it's from there, it's gonna taste like that. No freaking clue. But this one's beautiful. That is just brown sugar and oak. Man, nice, like really sweet, sweet oak. And it's that on the palate. Just vanilla, brown sugar, dissipates into a nice, soft, sweet oakiness. I've had some good rums. We've got some good rum barrel picks coming. If this isn't my favorite so far, it's right up there. Like, this is just a dessert. It's not something I'm gonna sit here and drink a ton of. I have no idea what this bottle cost. Don't know, I'm sure we can Google it. We'll pop it up on the screen right here so you can see at least what we found online. This one is a single barrel, so your next one may vary a little bit, but that is one of the best rums I've had. Sweet dessert. I would probably drink more of a lighter rum. This one is, you don't have those dark scorched molasses notes, but man, there's just a lot of sweetness there. And so I've had some like Rolling Fork, the Rolling Fork we had in the Weller barrels. That's much less dessert than this, much less brown sugar forward, and it's probably a little more approachable. This one with all of the sweetness, I'd get tired of a little bit, but just that first sip, absolutely fantastic. And if this is an affordable bottle, My goodness, the cocktails you could make with that. Like, it's 18 years old, so I assume it's expensive, but you can make some really nice cocktails with it. And this next bottle is Rebel Straight Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey, single barrel selected by Kyle Busch, NASCAR driver Kyle Busch. Went up to Talladega, was hanging out with some folks up there, having a good time. Wasn't able to stay for the race Sunday, but was in Victory Lane for the ARCA race, of which Richard Childress Racing won. So Richard Childress was there, a lot of the folks from RCR, which own this team that Kyle Busch drives for, got recognized. He said he'd love to send some bottles. This is the one that was sent. So showed up in the mail, and I like Rebel stuff. It's not a brand we talk about a whole lot on the channel, but it's really good. It's affordable, sweet, fruit, a little bit of like an apricot note there. Dissipates into a nice soft oakiness. I don't know how hard it is to get this particular single barrel, but Rebel single barrels are usually extremely affordable and great drinking whiskey. They're not normally like this absurd, over-the-top, super interesting, unique, different thing. And I think that's one of the reasons they may fly a little bit under the radar, is that you don't get any just wild flavor variations, or at least I haven't had any that have any wild flavor variations. It's just good bourbon. And that's a good single barrel. A little bit of nuttiness on it, like the oak on the finish comes across a little bit nutty. Overall, I really like this. And you know, they rolled out some really good barrels for Kyle Busch to choose from, and that one holds up to that. Next, we're jumping into some Ben Holidays here. We got a couple of Ben Holiday bourbons, soft red wheat. No need for me to open these right here. These are fantastic. I prefer the Rickhouse Proof. I prefer the single barrel Rickhouse Proof if you can get it, then the Rickhouse Proof, and then these guys. All of them really good. We don't drink a lot of 100 proof whiskey around here in general when a higher proof option is available, especially 110, 114, something like that. So good whiskey. We did a barbecue event, went up to judge the Kansas City Barbecue World Invitational outside of Nashville, Tennessee. And Ben Holiday was there sponsoring, and so snagged a few bottles from them to bring back home to put in the bar for guests. Now we are getting into some craft whiskey, and I'm gonna have to do some reading of the label right here. This is Blue Corn Bourbon, small batch, limited edition, craft whiskey. Literally says craft on the label. 4 years old, and this is straight bourbon whiskey from Flying Leap. Like, it's the smallest name. This, I don't know if y'all can see, but this little gold bar up here, their name is in the gold bar. Smallest name I've ever seen on a label. I would recommend making it bigger. Are they trying to hide their name? I don't. Let's see if they should be trying to hide their name. Blue Corn's pretty popular. I'm seeing a lot of Blue Corn stuff. Matter of fact, I think we've got another Blue Corn bottle or so in this selection from this past month. Now, we were hunting out in the Phoenix, Scottsdale, Tucson area. We picked up some local stuff. We'll go through several local bottles here, this being one of them. And that is craft. That is dusty, doughy, sweet with the Blue Corn, but you gotta really like that kind of dusty, doughy note. A lot of craft whiskeys have that note. When we start distilling our own, I wanna make sure we avoid it. It's not that it's terrible. If you like it, you're gonna absolutely love it, but it's not a mainstream note. It's not a note that I can just recommend to everybody because you don't know how people are gonna react to it, right? It's not a note that I typically enjoy, although the more I get into craft whiskey, the more I don't hate it, right? I understand it and I judge it for what it is, but that is definitely smelling like it. It was rapidly aged, or I don't know. It's 4 years old. It wasn't rapidly aged, but maybe it got a little too much heat out there in the Phoenix sun. And it's that on the palate. It's not a bad whiskey, but it's got those kind of doughy notes that I think would turn a lot of people off. Overall, they might have some good stuff that doesn't have those notes. I don't know, but you got to really be into that kind of craft doughiness. And again, there's hundreds of these bottles I've got back here from small producers have that note. It's a very common one. It's not bad. It's not a sign of lack of quality or cutting corners or anything like that. I think it's just a product of how they're aging this, whether it be the sun it's getting, maybe the conditioning of the oak. Maybe they had to use less seasoned barrels because it's 4 years old. They were getting this barrel during the pandemic when, man, big producers were having trouble getting barrels. I'm sure somebody this small had to go with whatever barrel they could get. I'm all speculation. No need really for us to speculate. I'm just saying, I think they're making a good whiskey, but that dough note is not for everybody. And the next bottle, HK Young Toasted. Right after this came in, we shot some stuff. This is Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey, barrel strength in a toasted barrel. And I tried it on a video and I liked it. It's good stuff. Like, I'm a little iffy with toasted barrels. Sometimes the oak is just overwhelming, too much or harsh to my palate. And I tend to like those, like a short barrel 101 toasted that leans more fruit. It just adds more fruit flavor. Like, they've done a real good job balancing out that toasted oakiness. And I think HK Young's done a pretty good job of that too. There's a little more of that harsh oakiness than I really want, but it's this much too much, right? Like, really subtle. We tried some single barrel samples from them. There's a few single barrels that are not over the top at all. Like, it was just like creme brulee with just a little touch of extra oakiness. Overall though, I think they've done a good job with this toasted barrel. And next is another blue corn bourbon. Big old price tag right there on the front. Apparently this one cost me $48 from Grand Canyon Distillery. Straight bourbon whiskey. This looks to be about 80 proof. And I don't think it's very old. I didn't see, like the other one had that kind of proudly 4 years old age statement on it. This one says it's aged a minimum of 2 years. Now, maybe with the lower aging in that Arizona heat, you get less of the doughiness, and you do. It's still there, but it's not as powerful or over the top. Just young, right? Just harsh, rough around the edges. Not bad whiskey, just not aged long enough. I don't know enough about aging whiskey yet, like we're trying to learn, but I know down here in the South, like 13th Colonies, a lot of folks, you age whiskey, it starts to impart certain flavors on it, just based on the heat and the humidity. And I don't know if that like craft, oaky, dusty doughiness is something you get from the heat. I do see it on quite a few craft distilleries, but I need to go back and start identifying it and seeing like where are those distilleries aging their product, because it could just be from that dry desert heat. But you see folks like Frey that don't have it, you know, but they're a little further north. And so maybe their climate is enough of a difference because they're cold. They're a little higher elevation up there than you're gonna get down Williams, Arizona. I don't know where Williams is. I just know where I picked this up. I don't know. It's there. It's not as strong as the other, but I also don't like the whiskey as much. But I don't think because it's a bad whiskey, I think it's just because it's 2 years old. Like, nothing stands a chance at being really good at 2 years old. But I do think if they want to make it mainstream, they probably need to figure out how to tamp down that doughiness just like the other bottle. A lot of that dry, harsh oak we got on the wheat state barrels that we bought. And so with our Oak Bowery 1, a lot of that dry, dusty oak you get on it, that sweet oak, comes from those wheat state barrels. Blending them, we were able to take out some of the doughiness, although it wasn't as strong as on these particular bottles. It was still there. You could blend it out. We actually used it to our benefit, but they were in Kansas and they got some of it. So don't know if it's a climate issue, but it's definitely something we want to figure out because we want to try to avoid it. And the next bottle right here is a good old bottle of Moonshine Cream right here. This comes from Neely family. They saw our bourbon cream comparisons that we were doing, and they said, hey, have you tried our Moonshine Cream? I was like, I didn't even know you made a Moonshine Cream. They said it was fantastic. They sent it along. I've got to get this thing in the fridge. It literally just showed up today. Need to pop it in the fridge, cool it. We'll try it in a short in a future video. I like the little jar. I like the Moonshine Cream. I think it could be pretty interesting. And the next bottles are these Never Say Die. We've got a rye and a bourbon. These just showed up in the mail. We did film shorts, but that was really early in the month, and I don't even remember what I thought about them. I remember the intro to the video, don't remember my tasting notes or my thoughts. So we're gonna go in for the first time, all again. Now, apparently this company's in the UK, but they're sourcing a bourbon, I guess. I don't know the exact story, apologize for that. I have been very busy this month. Despite my bottle accumulation looking kind of paltry this month, that actually smells really nice. Little rye spice coming through. Ooh, okay. It's interesting for sure. I like that. Sweet, almost bubble gum on the nose. Some citrus all the way through. Typical kind of caramel notes. Like overall, pretty good bourbon. This is a small batch. So I like some things about it. There's some things kind of holding it back, this particular batch. It's good. I like it. Don't get me wrong. But I think you could find some single barrels in this vein that would be exceptional. Really nice little fruit flavor notes, those little citrus notes. Those flavors get a little muddy kind of in the mid palate to me. But outside of that, really, really nice. We're nitpicking. We're splitting hairs. We're looking for something. That's good whiskey. But what about the rye? Oh, that smells good too. I don't like the rye as much though. It smelled good and it tastes okay. It hits my palate all weird and harsh. I wonder if that's just me today. Almost tastes like a single malt. Like that's how my palate's kind of interpreting some of the harsh flavors that I'm getting from that. And without that, it would be really good. Like on the nose, it's good. And it delivers all of those flavors. I'm getting that rye spice, little bubblegum sweetness, soft sweet oakiness, but that oakiness comes through on the finish like dry and harsh. Kind of hits my palate all weird. Could be me today. Not in love with the rye. There's some things there I like though. Just don't like it as a total package, but I really enjoy that. And last, but most definitely not least, little Parker's Heritage 14-year-old. This is a single malt, by the way. Uncle Nate will be happy to know. If y'all don't know who Uncle Nate is, you apparently haven't spent any time in our Discord. You probably should spend a little time in the Discord. It's a lot of fun over there. A lot of people hanging out, talking about whiskey. And while you're at it, maybe hit the subscribe button, help us out. We're pushing toward 1 million subscribers, which is absolutely insane. Like we have not yet crossed the 3-year mark of this channel. Matter of fact, we will do that here within the next few weeks. So the 1st of July is our 3-year anniversary. We won't make 1 million by then, but if you watch these, a lot of people watch these, not subscribed, maybe hit that button. This one is Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey, finished in reconstructed heavy toast cognac barrels. So straight malt, doesn't say single malt, it says Kentucky Straight Malt Whiskey in reconstructed barrels. Now I got this one from a friend. He come over the other day to help me try through some samples. He brought this, he said, do you want it? I was like, unfortunately I do. I tried this before. I had a chance to buy it. I passed on it because it's a malt whiskey. I didn't think I'd like it, but I tried somebody's and it's actually really interesting. It's pretty good, really interesting. And so I wanted one to be able to share with folks. Folks like myself that come over, don't like malt whiskey. They could have a sip of this. Maybe it'll change their minds. But we do that with a lot of bottles. Like we have a lot of bottles here that are just for sharing with people. Maybe not to my palate, but it's a interesting thing in its own category. And so we have a lot of those and I wanted this one. So I was able to acquire that from him. He didn't tell me what I owe him, so I may owe him my soul, I don't know. But that doesn't smell like a malt whiskey at all. That is just light and bright and fruit forward. I mean, that just tastes like a really nice heavy hill, maybe a heavy malt or a high malt impact bourbon is what I probably would have picked that as. Man, nuttiness, sweet, fruit, complex. Then the malt starts to come through a little bit. I said the Southern Distilling single malt was my favorite. And this doesn't say single malt, but malt whiskey. The Southern Distilling single malt was the best single malt I'd ever had because it didn't taste like a single malt. I would love to go with those head to head. Now that bottle's all gone. I don't have any to go back to. My goodness. It's like a little nuttiness, like banana runts, goes through to like a over-ripened banana. And I had a little red fruit first time I went back to it. I gotta try that again. I gotta go. It's a malt, I know what you're thinking. Don't judge me. Little peanut butter, banana, like I said, gets stronger, like brighter banana, then it dissipates into that over-ripened banana. I don't know, really nice bottle. Like that's gotta be 1 or 2 on the best malt whiskeys I've ever had. So malt whiskey obviously doesn't have to be those kind of harsher, to my palate, single malt scotches, Irish whiskeys, things like that. It can be, and I'm assuming this is column distilled. I assume, it's an assumption, right? I mean, it's Heaven Hill. I assume they're running it through their column. Apparently, column distilled malts are a thing. And that is super interesting right there. Oh, we forgot one right here. Can't believe I forgot this guy. This one I was super excited about getting while we were out there in Arizona. We were talking to a liquor store owner, and y'all will see in that video when it comes out. we're like, what local thing should we make sure we buy while we're out there? And he said this company was super interesting, Elgin Distillery. And I think one of those other ones was from a distillery in Elgin, but not this same distillery, at least not the same name on the bottle. But he said this guy right here, in that state, if you make a limited amount of whiskey, I forget, 19,000 gallons, something like that, you can self-distribute. And so apparently Elgin Distillery meets those requirements, self-distributes, and the only place you can really get these around the state are at the distillery or at a Total Wine. So we ran by Total Wine, couldn't put that on camera, but we did run by there and grab this particular bottle. Now what this is a 7-year single barrel at 90.9 proof. It is a 24% mash bill. So I like all the specs about it, except the 90.9 proof. Now I have tried this, and it does not have that kind of doughy, dry dustiness that the other Arizona products had. The liquor store owner that put us onto this said this was a hidden gem and was probably the best thing made in the state. And just based on the 3 we've bought, he's not wrong. Now again, 7-year-old single barrel, that helps versus a 4 or a 2-year-old product. He's got an advantage, but he's also kept a lot of those craft notes off of it. If you had just sent me that, I might smell that and say, okay, that's a small producer. There's some strong flavors there I don't recognize from any of the legacy mainstream distillers, but they're all pleasant. They're all really nice. And man, that is just sweet all the way through. Like, that is a really good sweet bourbon. I want another good pour of that too. The only thing still, the proof. Like, that would be absolutely fantastic at 107, 110 proof. Like, just give me those proof points. And honestly, if these guys have a single barrel program, I'll do what it takes to get one. It's just good bourbon. There's some really nice little red fruit notes there. There's just a touch of kind of a little bit of harsh oak on the finish. It's really subtle. It's at a stronger proof where the flavors are stronger. I don't know if that would go away, like the flavors would overpower it, or if that would just be too pronounced and stronger. I don't know. But I really like those kind of classic bourbon notes, a little bit of red fruit on it. And I think a cask strength single barrel from them could be fantastic, especially for a producer this small. Like if you say across the board with all single barrels, it's gonna be really good. But if you say for a producer this size, could be top tier, could be world class. And so if you happen to be in Arizona and Total Wine, grab some of these single barrels. I saw at the store I went to, there was some 7-year, some 6-year. It's not blow your socks off, right? It's gonna be hard to do that at 90 proof, but man, that's just good whiskey. And of course, they're single barrels. Your single barrel may vary, may be different than this one. But on this particular single barrel, I'm gonna have everybody that comes by try this, give me their thoughts on it. And if y'all see a cask strength version of these Elgin 7 years or older, let me know, because I need one. It's kind of nice only having 15 bottles where we can try most of them that we haven't tried, or we can really talk about each and every one of them. Again, hit that subscribe button if you would. See if you can help push us over the top to 1 million subs. I'd like to get there before we hit 4 years. That'd be cool. That'd be a fun thing to do. So share these videos out if you enjoy them. If you know somebody from Elgin, introduce them. So appreciate y'all watching. See y'all in the next one.